Princeton, and welcome to Talk to Me. I'm Esther Mills. Carole Feuerman is acknowledged as one of America's most important realist sculptors. She has received many awards, including her most recent first prize at the 2008 Beijing Biennale, a prize in the 2008 Olympic Fine Arts Exhibition, the Peabody Award, the Betty Parsons Sculpture Award, and the Medici Award. Her work is in the collections of President Bill Clinton, as well as Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton, Dr. Kissinger, President Gorbachev, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the State Hermitage, St. Petersburg, and the Forbes Art Collection, among many others, as well as our local grounds for sculpture. Feuerman's art allows and encourages flights of fantasy and involves us with an intimacy unexpected at first glance. So welcome, Carole. Tell us, what inspired you to become a sculptor?
It's a good question. I knew I was going to be a sculptor from a very early age, like from age 3. Actually, I knew I was going to be an artist. I didn't know I was going to be a sculptor.
And what was happening when you were so young that compelled you to pursue this track?
My mother got a painting kit, and I kept staring at it, and I was looking forward to her leaving me with a babysitter because I wanted to get my hands on that painting set.
Otherwise, Mother wouldn't let you.
It had a magic lore.
So you were just attracted, it resonated with you when you saw that,
yeah.
that was part of who you were.
Of course, I painted the kitchen floor.
Was Mother happy about that?
Not very happy.
But it sounds like they became supportive at some point of you pursuing this field.
Yeah, after I graduated college.
It took a while. Tell us about your work. You're a hyper-realist sculptor. Tell us what that is and how that differs from a realist sculptor.
Okay. A realist sculptor does recognizable forms that are very realistic. A hyper-realist takes it to another level, where they're so real that they seem to almost like breathe. If it's a landscape, it looks super real, like taking realism to the next level.
Yeah, it's almost as though they're alive.
In my case, yeah.
Yes, yes, they do. Tell us about a little bit about your background, your schooling, and how it evolved for you.
In high school, I studied privately. On Saturdays, I went to a local teacher's house, and I had private lessons just with myself, and I loved it. And then I wanted to go to art school, but my parents wouldn't hear of it. So I went to Temple University, and I couldn't wait to transfer to art school. So I transferred out of Temple University in Philadelphia to the School of Visual Arts, and my parents were very unhappy about that. And they said that if I was going to go to art school and not college, that I would have to pay for it myself. So I convinced my girlfriend, whose father was in the record business, to let me do record album covers for her father's company, and if he would pay me, we could use that money towards my college tuition, which he paid. And it worked out quite well until the school found out I was working, which is why they were training me, and they asked me if I wouldn't mind graduating early. Because I was being trained to work professionally, and I was already working professionally.
Oh.
But the good news is that I had enough college credit to actually graduate college with a bachelor's degree instead of just a trade school. But the bad news is I only went for 3 years.
Well, you've still been quite successful. Tell us about the techniques that are used in sculpting, the different techniques, because it seems that your work has evolved. You started off doing more statues, and then you, and then you've kind of evolved into using metals also. Tell us about the techniques.
Well, I started the sculptures with very hyper-realistic body of work. I called it my erotic series. And I did 13 sculptures of parts of the body, fragmented parts of the body. And I got a gallery in Fort Worth, Texas, to show them. I couldn't get a gallery in Manhattan, but I got a gallery in Fort Worth, Texas, and I was very excited. I finished the pieces, and I flew out to Texas with my family to have my first exhibition. And what I didn't realize is that in 1980, in the Bible Belt, it was unheard of for a New Yorker
Erotic series
to show erotic art in the Bible Belt. Actually, I don't even think it would go over today.
Probably not.
So they let me have the opening, although only one person came other than my family, and that was the custodian. But the next day I was told to pack it up and go back to New York.
Oh, so that must have been disappointing for you.
It was really disappointing, and I decided that I wasn't going to give up. I was going to persevere, and I wasn't going to do anything erotic ever again. And it led to my doing my Swimmers and Bathers series, which...
However, I would have to say they have somewhat of an erotic component to them.
No, it takes many years till we realize who we are.
Or at least to accept it. Well, let's look at some of the work that you have done. If you want to show some of the swimmers and the different athletic individuals that you've created. Well, tell us a little about the technique. You actually use live models, real people.
Yeah, getting back to my progression of my career, you would ask me to discuss the figurative work and then on to the bronze. I spent many, many years doing this hypo-realist figurative art, and I became well known for the Swimmers and Bathers. I did all the bathing suits and the accessories as sculpture and not added later on. So I would cast from life, and I cast over a person, a model, but many, many times, just to do a live casting, you didn't have anything worthy of making a sculpture out of it. It would be as if a dentist did a casting of your teeth. It would just be a good casting. But, and actually, in many cases, it wasn't such a good casting. It was pretty messed up.
So it was difficult to do that.
Yeah, it wasn't, I mean, I would cast, but I wouldn't call it a work of art. So to make it a work of art, I'd have to push the realism or use two people or use someone else's hands or sculpt the body. And most of my pieces, my earlier pieces, involved a male and a female, even though they read as sculptures of females. Especially the erotic pieces, it was a man's hands on a woman's body. There's a lot of touching and feeling. They have deep emotional content.
So tell us about the survival of Serena.
Okay. I like to talk about survival of Serena. Originally, in the early 80s, when I did the swimming series, I did a sculpture called The Inner Tube, and it was a life-size sculpture, as all the original swimmers were, life-size. And it was a girl on a float, and that girl came from a dream. Most of my sculptures come from dreams or thoughts. The marble shower was done right here at Digital Stone in Hamilton, and I'm very excited about that piece because originally they didn't think it could be done. And this is the shower sculpture painted. It's the cover of the Carole Feuerman sculpture book, and you can see her hands are like this. Well, in Digital Stone, they do you pick your stone and they cut it digitally. And they said they couldn't really do anything where the hand was hidden behind the arm. So I said I would carve that part of it that the machine couldn't see. And it came out really good. It's a beautiful piece of rose marble. I love it.